All right, all right, all right, all right. Welcome into another podcast here at the Gridiron Grubb podcast. I am glad to have you guys around and here. It gives me a pleasure to do this. I'm excited. We had another exciting NFL weekend. And with that being said, don't forget, follow along Gridiron Grubb on Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube to this YouTube channel. Get the podcast when you want to watch it. We'll be having some more updates as we move along. We are grinding. We're coming along. It's getting bigger. It's getting badder. We're getting louder. We're having more fun. We're moving along. Spotify, you can listen to. Apple Podcasts, get over. Follow, subscribe, whatever you want to call it on those. 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts would be lovely if you enjoy what you're seeing. So get over there, get it done, get subscribed. So as we move into today, we're going to start with our Tuesday takeaways from the weekend, which was a pretty exciting weekend. Had some upsets, had some things happen that we've never seen before. Pretty dang exciting. And speaking of one of the things we had never seen before, how about Justin Tucker's 66-yard field goal to win the game? I know, Detroit fans, you're going, no, I'm calling BS right now. And I understand that because, as we've seen, we know down here in this arrow, and those of you listening on the podcast, there was a delay of game. It was badly missed. We're not talking about, where the refs let it go down to it hits zero and they get kind of a split second to snap the ball. We're talking about at least a 2 count. I was watching it live. I can't even believe it got let go either. I was kind of shocked. I thought maybe they were trying to pump, and reset the clock. Didn't happen. Wasn't happening. They let him snap it. It was 2 or 3 count after this clock hit zero. Now, if that clock is not matched up to the field, they are way off. Way off. So either it's the television production crew's fault or these refs badly missed this call. Either way, ends up in Justin Tucker hitting the 66-yard field goal. Here's celebrating with his teammates, running around. It was crazy pandemonium. I couldn't even believe what I had seen. So whether you're a Lions fan and you're not happy about what happened, I can understand that. However, you just watched a dude kick a 66-yard field goal, the best kicker in the history of the NFL. He hit it. I mean, what are you going to do? It was pretty amazing. And you know that as a Lions fan, it sucked. You have Dan Campbell on the sideline. You could see from his look it sucked, but you go, what the hell are you going to do? We just made a dude kick a 66-yard field goal, and he hit it. What are you going to do? So final score, Ravens 19, Lions 17. Total yards of the game. I mean, this game was a pretty good blueprint for the NFL if you want to see how to dominate the Ravens. Now, they had 387 total yards, but only 116 rush. And so stopping Lamar Jackson was obviously priority in this game. You could see how they made him float up in the middle of the pocket. They obviously had quarterback spy on him, but they pressed him. They made him move up in the middle of the pocket. And that allowed them to then converge from behind him. So when he tried to break that pocket, and he likes to turn backwards and then run out of that pocket, he couldn't do it. He could not do it. He was getting stopped left and right. The Lions did a great job of stopping him. They really did. Now, that being said, they forced him to pass. And they said, Lamar Jackson's going to beat us with the pass, which he had 271 yards of pass yards. However, those could be hugely inflated had it not been for Hollywood Brown's drops. Hollywood Brown embarrassingly dropped 3 passes, 2 that would have been easy touchdowns in different drives. So we're talking about this score could have been a lot different. Does he not drop those passes? This game would have been different. Those pass yards would have been astronomical because one of them probably was about a 60-yard touchdown, and the other was probably about a 50 or 45, maybe 50. So, I mean, we're looking at it at almost 200 more yards passing, at least 100 and, 50 at least, I would say, that Lamar could have had from the drops, because he had another one that wasn't going to be a touchdown, I don't think. However, he was wide open, probably a 30 or 40-yard gain. So we're looking at anywhere from probably 140 to 150 yards that should have been put on that passing yard average. So 271 should have been higher for the Ravens on their passing. The 116, rushing against the Ravens, that's a pretty good shutdown job for the Lions. You got to give them credit for that. Straight up, really good job for the Lions, shutting down that Ravens, not just the running game, but Lamar Jackson in the running game. He wasn't going anywhere. If you saw highlights or you actually watched some of that game, you could see Lamar Jackson wasn't getting out of the box. Pretty impressive job done by the Lions. Heartbreaking loss. However, even though the Lions are upset about what happened at the end of the game, I can understand that. We all get that. That's going to be something I talk about in tomorrow's episode. Tomorrow's show is going to be about what we got going on in the refereeing. Part of the show is going to be about what we're seeing in the NFL with the over-refereeing of the game. We'll get into that tomorrow. However, the Lions, because of the over-refereeing, missed out on a chance there. However, the game shouldn't have been in that, not just because of the missed call there. The 66-yard field goal shouldn't have had to happen because, again, the Ravens had plenty of chances to blow this score up, and they dropped the ball on that literally. Marquise Brown, Hollywood dropped the ball on that a few times. So it was a good game. The Lions showed, again, a good way to stop this Ravens rushing offense through Lamar Jackson. So just watch that, because there's going to be a lot of guys watching game film on what happened and move on from that. So into our next game, which was super exciting. We had Chargers at the Chiefs, an upset for many. Obviously, Chargers fans didn't think it was an upset. Most of the rest of us NFL fans and NFL people say, yes, that was the upset. And really, again, this game wasn't as necessarily came down to who played better as far as yards and yards gained and all of that type of stuff. This came down to 4 turnovers. 4 for the Chiefs, 0 for the Chargers. That was the name of this game. Those 4 turnovers for the Chiefs are what really, really, really stuck this game into the Chargers' favors. The Los Angeles Chargers came out, they played well. However, if the Chiefs don't make those 4 turnovers, especially Mahomes, he's made these amazing throws every week, and we watch him and everybody gets excited. However, he can't do it when you have deep zones on your guys, and all they did was take away the big play from the Chiefs. They said, what we're going to do is make yourself drive down the field. You're going to have to use the running game, and you're going to have to use short passes. And the Chiefs really do struggle. Mahomes in his mind struggles with that. You can say he's the greatest quarterback that we've seen in a long time. That may be true. He struggles when it comes to, this is what Tampa Bay did. I've said it in previous episodes. I've said it in previous times about analyzing the Chiefs. Mahomes gets beat when you make him drive down the field. And people say, it's crazy, he has drives all the time. However, he does, but usually there's a 20 or 30 or 40-yard pass play in that drive. And if you cut those down and you have to make them make 10, 8, 10, 12, 14 play drives, there is that possibility, especially with the way Mahomes throws no-look passes, drops back, just throws stuff up in the air, that one of your guys is going to come down with the ball. It's not always going to be a Chief. It's just not. The odds are not there for it to always be a Chief. In this game, it wasn't a Chief. So when Mahomes dropped back, threw a couple wild passes, there they went. Had a couple guys fumble. You had Tyreek Hill and Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumble, and they lost them. So not only did that turn into points for the Chargers, it kept Kansas City from gaining offensive momentum in this game. And you can see from the yardage total, which some of that goes into the turnovers because the Chargers didn't have to go as far from a few of those turnovers to get points. But the Chargers still kind of got dominated in this game as far as yards and possession. However, the Chiefs, again, those turnovers, that's how you're going to lose in the NFL. The time of possession, and all the things that come with it doesn't mean you're going to necessarily win. So when you look at these guys and you go in and you have the Chargers, and they're a team they are on the brink of being good. Justin Herbert, he came in, he was kind of their missing piece. They have a good team built. They have an offensive line. They have a pretty solid defense. It's not the best in the NFL, but they've got solid defensive talent. They've got receivers around here to work with Herbert. They've got tight ends. They made sure to bring in Cook because they wanted a good, capable tight end. And then you got Eckler out of the backfield. Herbert came into a great situation. They do a lot of comparing of Herbert because everybody's like, oh, I can't believe so-and-so drafted so-and-so over Herbert, or I can't believe nobody drafted Herbert, blah, 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 blah. But that's not the case. It takes time. If you get drafted into a team that has weapons, then you are on a great track. Same thing. Look what they've done now with Joe Burrow and with Tua. They're putting weapons around these guys. However, both those guys, even though the Bengals have come out strong this year, the Dolphins have had a couple heartbreaking losses back to back, but Tua didn't play in those. So here we go. So that's my point. Herbert gonna be great, but he's got great weapons, and he's proven it every week. The guy is smart. He's got a great football IQ, and he put it to work this week because I tell you what, not many teams would trust a second-year quarterback after going to kick a field goal. The Chargers were going to kick a field goal, and it was 4th and 4, right? Because they got a penalty and it ended up being 4th and 9. Instead of, most people would say, okay, now it's just a longer field goal. The Chargers said, to hell with that. We're not going to try to push it because it was going to be a long 50-something yard field goal. Well, let's go for it on 4th and 9. We've got some receivers out here on the outside that we trust that will go with it because Herbert, he can make a throw. He make a back shoulder throw. He can make, push the receiver, can get the cornerback pushed up the field and do a comeback, and that's exactly what they did, and they trusted him with it. That shows where Herbert is as far as his game because if NFL coach trusts him to do that, he's doing good. That was a turning point of the game. That, even though at the time it was tied at 24, the Chargers literally turned the game in that sequence because it kind of broke the Chiefs down and said, hey, I thought we were the surprise specialists. I thought we were the guys who got it done on 4th and long. I thought we had the special throws. It wasn't happening for the Chargers or for the Chiefs on that day, on this Sunday. So it works out. However, the Chiefs still had a game. I mean, they had 186 rushing yards. You know what I mean? They had 186 rushing yards. How they didn't win this game is only because of turnovers. If you have 186 rushing yards and you lose, it's because of turnovers. And the turnovers cost that team. Now, the biggest news that came out of this was obviously Andy Reid going to the hospital. Today is Tuesday when I am doing this podcast, and my best wishes to him. But from what we've heard, he was supposed to be at practice today. I have not seen what's going on here, at least in the facilities he was supposed to be today. So that's good news. Our hearts go out for Andy Reid. I hope everything's all right with him, and so does everybody else, especially in the NFL community. Obviously, we want that guy to be doing good. He's whatever team he's on, whether it's been the Eagles or the Chiefs, it gives us somebody to look forward to playing or somebody to watch coach, and he's bred so many top NFL coaches, whether they be coordinators or head coaches now. So he's greatly appreciated around the league. So we're happy that he's doing good, and I hope he did make practice today and his body and his health is feeling better. Now, moving into the next game. Who do we got? We got the Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay Packers, and don't judge, but the Jimmy Garoppolo 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo's come to play this year. And so you can say what you want to say, but the kid has come to play. So you could take away everything that he's done in the past, and really, Injuries have been a big part of that. Last year, people were so hard on him, but the dude destroyed his ankle early on in the year. He kept playing through the pain. It was really a struggle. You could see in the Miami Dolphins game he played last year, he couldn't step and throw. They pulled him out for a little while, and he kept coming back trying to make plays. It didn't happen, okay? So, but this year, he's healthy. He's got competition behind him. Everybody goes, oh, go to the rookie quarterback. That's going to be another portion of our show tomorrow. Again, talking rookie quarterbacks and why they should or shouldn't play, or what's happening that you're visualizing and seeing out there on the field from them. That's what's going on. We're going to have that in the episode tomorrow. However, Jimmy G should be playing for the 49ers for the rest of the season unless he's injured and Lance comes in and does some spectacular stuff. It's not going to happen, but Jimmy G will be in there unless he's hurt. So, this game, woo! Are you kidding me? The Aaron Rodgers special at the end, and I sat here, I was watching the game with my nephew, and he laughed at me when Juszczyk scored for the 49ers, and I said, but they left him 37 seconds. And my nephew laughed hysterically at me. He said, and I said, but it's Aaron Rodgers. And in my mind, I kid you not, I said, with 37 seconds, he's got all of the field to work with. He's got 20 and 30-yard passes over the middle, over the top of the linebackers. He can get up and down it. And then here you are with 25 seconds left, and he's already close to midfield or at midfield. I saw it coming. I knew it in my mind, and they did it to him. The second pass was ridiculous. How the 49ers lined up and put a man, and he had about 12-yard cushion on Adams is ridiculous. This is the NFL. That play call to leave him solo on that side, single covered, and then give a 12 or 13-yard cushion, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. Maybe they thought they were going to run a slant. Maybe they thought they were going to run an out. But again, there was enough time to now Aaron Rodgers can throw the ball in bounds and get up and spike it. So you cannot give up that coverage. Blows my mind that that's what the 49ers did. Now, this game was special, though, because without Jimmy G coming down and doing his thing, don't get me wrong, Jimmy G, people want to get on him and say, oh, the Packers won because the 49ers, they should have had this type of quarterback or blah, blah. Jimmy G did his job. He does not play defense. He drove down. He got the touchdown. He took his team on a game-winning drive and completed it. And he was let down by his defense and by really, really pathetic play calling. I'm sorry. I know these guys are NFL coordinators and they've earned their time over myself, but that was ridiculous. To not have your linebackers drop in coverage and be able to have a ball dropped over their head into the middle of the field is absolutely nuts. How that play is not at the biggest yardage, 15 to 20 yards, and it's caught in front of you is crazy to me. Crazy. And the second play call, one of the worst I've seen. One of the worst I've seen. You leave your cornerback on an island with a 12 or 13-yard cushion. I mean, my head exploded. I couldn't even believe it. I'm looking at the screen going, hell, you don't even need Aaron Rodgers to make that throw. You could have taken one of the rookies who had a bad game this week, and he would have made that throw. I mean, come on. But going into looking at the stats, obviously 30 to 28. Crosby hits the 51-yard field goal. Got to give him credit for that. That's not something that's just easy. That's a hell of a kick. 100 rush yards for the Packers. Only 67 rushing yards for San Francisco. That's pretty rough. I know they've got their backs down, but they only had 298 total yards. That's not going to cut it, and I'm blown away that they had 28 points on the board with only 298 total yards. They didn't even get 300 total yards, but got 28 points. That's a big deal. That shows you, though, that they did play some good. They had some really good field position early on in the game that they got points from. Okay, but still, that was not a game for the weak-hearted. from either side, because it was definitely one of those games where you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down with your emotions as a fan. So absolutely incredible game, fun to watch. Aaron Rodgers does it again, and we're going to be moving along into our next thing, which is the Tom Brady Bucks versus the Matthew Stafford Rams. I mean, come on. You got to look at this. This dude is dropping bombs. Is Matthew Stafford not dropping bombs or what? It's incredible. This guy comes out. Everybody goes, whatever, the Lions would be good, or maybe they wouldn't. Who knows? Who knows? But Matthew Stafford, he's just a quarterback at the Lions, and so there was a lot of trepidation from people saying he's not very good. Look what the Lions, if he was so good, the Lions would have been blah, 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 right? No. The dude is good. There's a reason there was like 5 coaches that are really good coaches and 5 teams that are really good franchises that wanted his butt on their team in this offseason. When they found out he was on a trade, there was coaches slobbering all over that. There's a reason, because these coaches watch the film. They know what kind of quarterback he is. They know how he can read a field. They know how he can judge. The dude's never had an offensive line, never had a running game, only had one receiver really. Now Marvin Jones, you can go to that. Galloway, okay, and then you had your boy Megatron. Megatron is the top tier of all of that, but you can't do it with one quarterback and one wide receiver all the time if you have no running game. The Packers, everybody go, well, it's just Rodgers and Adams, but that's not true because they have a running game. When the Packers haven't had a running game, i.e. a few years ago, they can't get it done when it matters. So it's important. Now, we go into this game with Stafford versus Brady. Absolutely fun. It was a domination. It is something of how I know and I watch and I say, and you can go back in previous podcasts and see when I've talked, how you beat Tom Brady. You have to beat Tom Brady. You have to push him up the middle, okay? Aaron Donald and those guys, they did such a great job. You have to pressure Brady up the middle. If you try to pressure Brady off of the edges, Brady will step up in the pocket and he will throw to somebody. It's been going on for years. However, if you can mix up your man coverages and your zone coverages and start to work in that head, and you can get somebody like Aaron Donald and these guys pushing up the middle, pushing that center back in his face, that's when you can beat Tom Brady. And it worked this week. Now, don't get me wrong, the dude still threw for 411 yards. That is impressive. He did his job. He was really on his game for a lot of the game. However, they got some stops that were important, and they got some sacks that were important during that time. Now, this is what has worried me in this stat as I pull this up, okay? We had our score 34-24. We've got that wrong on the set here, so it should be flip-flop. Obviously, the Rams won. So, however, the yardages are correct. The thing that's starting to worry me about the Bucs is what I've worried for a few weeks. They do not run the football. That is not good. They are not mixing it up at all. That only lasts for so long. It will cost you in the end if you cannot have a balanced offense at least a little better than 35 yards total rushing in a game. Especially with the 2 running backs they have. Now, I know it was the Rams, but you cannot get yourself in trouble. Again, Matthew Stafford having a team to play with, is he Tom Brady great because of the Super Bowls? No, but Matthew Stafford is a very smart, capable quarterback, and if you keep him on the field with that offense that the Rams have, you're in trouble. So just the same way that it goes for Brady, if you keep him on the field, you're in trouble. What the Rams did was control the ball. They got it done in that capability, okay? So, 34-24, 10-point win. However, I've seen this for a few weeks coming. The Bucs have been really, really unbalanced in their offense. No running game to speak of. And they don't even keep trying. They don't even try. They don't mix it up. There's no motions. They literally just hand it off when they do it, and they run up the middle. Now, the previous week, the play action was killing. Brady's play action is amazing. However, people will stop worrying about Brady's play action if you're not running the football. Okay, and if you only run the same run up the middle every 7, 8, 10, 12 plays, everybody doesn't give a crap about it soon. And especially if they can stop it with their front 3 or 4 guys, they're going to not care about it. So the Bucs are going to have to get themselves a little balanced here and get things done, but right now we're looking at it as, hey, can they get it done? Absolutely. Absolutely. They have the skills and running backs to get a running game going. They just haven't been doing it the last few weeks. And it really shocks me because that Brady game with his play action, which is friggin' amazing, he can play action and turn and find the field better than any quarterback probably that we've ever seen. There's been some good play action quarterbacks. Brady top notch. Okay, Brady does a lot of things top notch. His play action game is number one, probably in his skill set. Brady's play action skill set to fake the handoff, freeze the linebackers, turn, and see and find the field is incredible. It really is. Not many quarterbacks can do it good, and not many quarterbacks will ever do it as good as he can. Actually, there may never be another quarterback that does the play action game like he does, especially unless we evolve back into a running game type of offense that we see on the field. So we don't see that much anymore but the running backs and the running game is kind of evolving a little bit, but it takes a lot of motion. It takes some things, and you're just not seeing that from the Bucs. Not very creative. So the Rams get their win. Stafford comes in, 331 yards passing. Now, they didn't have a lot of rushing yards either, but they got backs down. They're hurting in their running game in the first place. Now, you can ask the Rams what it's like if you don't have a balanced offense. They've struggled over the last few years of winning big games because of that. And you look at this Bucs offense right now, I know they have Brady, I know they have Gronk, I know they have all these receivers, but if you can't get something done in the running game, then you're in trouble. And the Rams weren't lining up to stop the run. They weren't. They weren't stacking the box to stop the run. So this is a worrying number for me. It says 35 rush yards for the Bucs. They've got to change that around. And so moving into our Monday night takedown of the poor Eagles. Now look, Eagles fans all upset. This is another what I'm talking about. Tomorrow we're getting into rookie and young quarterbacks. Everybody thinks Jalen Hurts is supposed to come out and be this like ridiculous savior and not have any mistakes. I've never seen anything like it from a fan base except for the Dolphins with Tua, who are a horrible fan base to their quarterback. It doesn't matter who it is. When Tannehill was there, they were horrible to him. Now the Eagles, McNabb, first he was good, then they ran him out of town. Well, first they booed him, then they liked him, then they ran. Now Jalen Hurts, right? Then they Wentz, they loved him, ran him out of town. Now, is it Jalen Hurts' turn? Is the kid going to get a chance to develop? Tough town to do it in. They won't let you do it, whether you're a coach or a player. They don't do it. They don't do it. And not a knock on Eagles fans, but it's a tough place. I mean, really it is. They don't let you develop anything there. You need to be good from day one. So it's going to take some time, though. I mean, we like this kid. Hurts is a good kid, okay? This was a rough game. Now, going into that interception that became a touchdown, everybody's on board against Jalen Hurts. That was 70 to 75% the receiver's fault. So if you want to blame somebody, look at the little phenom you guys have all been talking about. Okay? That was Smith's fault. One, not only did he not keep his feet, everybody said, oh, well, he tripped. It's, it still hurts his fault. That is not what happened. Watch a route. If you know football and you played football, or if you've ever been around football, watch that out pattern. That is terrible. You do not circle, you do not loop your out pattern. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. If you loop your out pattern, any cornerback can take you. And that goes all the way back to Pee Wee football. You don't play Pop Warner football. Ask a coach how he teaches his kid how to run an out pattern. If you run this little loopy, lazy out pattern, I don't care how fast you run. That was a terrible pattern run. That one was on all on Smith. I mean, it really was. Because then he lost his feet, so he couldn't even be that. Now, Hurts, did he throw the ball? Hurts needs to throw that ball and lead him in front of him. But as a quarterback, it's tough when you're waiting for your guy to stick his foot in the ground and do an out. If he doesn't stick his foot in the ground and do the out, you're waiting for. So you look over there and he's kind of circling out. So he just kind of, it makes it tough as a quarterback. Now, I'm not going to make an excuse for him in that effort because he could have thrown a better ball to the outside, to the sideline. Yes. However, that lazy out pattern is not going to get it done in the NFL. So, if you want Devontae Smith to be this great overall thing, okay. But that was a lazy out pattern. Very lazy. That is not getting up there, putting your foot in the ground and hitting the out. That was lazy. And so you can blame Hurts all you want, but that was 70 to 75% on Smith. Terrible route. So, going back into that, the first interception, that's the one that you should worry about. Okay, because that was a nonsense. And by the way, there's a reason that the kid didn't, Tua came in the national championship for him. He threw and made plays just like that. So the warning signs are out there. I understand Philadelphia fans getting upset. However, you got this kid. You ran Wentz out of town. You ran Foles out of town. Really, the fan base actually didn't run Foles out of town. And I'll guarantee you, if those two stuck together, right, the coach and Foles, right, if those two stuck together, I bet you the Eagles would have been dominant for much longer, but everybody was on boards with Wentz then. Everybody was on board. So we got rid of Foles. Then, now here we are, right? You got Hurts in there. We got to let the kid develop, okay? So this game, Dak, he's still looking good. Okay, but the thing I saw from the Cowboys, they ran the football, and they tried to run the football. Weeks before, it was on Zeke, right? Zeke didn't do it. Zeke not getting it done. Maybe they should have Pollard be the running back. That's not the case. It's not the case. They should keep with what they were doing in this game. You have to have a well-rounded offense. They have a two-back system now. Zeke's going to come in. He's going to be a monster in this two-back system. He's going to get his rest. You should totally Derrick Henry this offense. However, Derrick Henry goes the whole game. However, in this offense, you can have Pollard go, and then you get in these fourth quarter late, you can start having Zeke run wild. This is what it's about. You tire the defenses out. You have Zeke pound them some during the game. You have Pollard get the runs. It gets down. They get lazy arm tackles. This game looked good for the Cowboys' offensive play calling. It's the best offensive called game that they've had all season. Balance. 160 rushing yards, 220 passing yards. I mean, that's perfect. I mean, that's, now if you want a little more passing yards in there, okay, but they didn't need, especially at the end, they didn't need to heat up the pass, okay? They spent the last quarter and a half basically rushing the football just to run clock, trying to get first downs, throwing little passes here, keep ball control. That's what they played towards the end of the game. However, best looking game the Cowboys have played combined. Defense did really well. I know they were going against a young quarter. You guys got to look at Hurts. So this is not his rookie year. This is his rookie year playing. You have to look at it that way. They did a really good job of that. And, a lot of these guys that have been around, that have been coaching, especially like Quinn, they know how to get to a rookie quarterback. They know how to bust in their head. They can look and they can see and they can hold them down. And because there's so many running quarterbacks in the league now that can move, teams are starting to adjust to that. You can even see in the Jacksonville game against the Cardinals, it's Kyler Murray. The kid's amazing. Lamar Jackson, you can see against the Lions. The kid's amazing. But people are starting to tweak their defenses a little, and it will get more and more that way as more offenses are built that way. So don't get me wrong. The kids need to do what they need to do. But it's going to be some effort in stopping these guys, especially Hurts as he grows. But you got to let him grow. So as we look at the rest of the field, you had, obviously on Thursday night, Panthers-Texans. It was not a very good competitive game. after probably about the midway through the third quarter. It was actually surprisingly competitive for the first part of the game. Got to give Davis Mills his credit as he kind of got going a little bit towards halftime and then into the third quarter, but it kind of fell off as the pressure and things got to him. Colts, Titans. This one, Titans played their game, right? Derrick Henry, running big, getting big runs. Colts had their chances. You had Wentz with 2 sprained ankles. Got to give the kid credit. He went out there and did his best. It was okay. The Colts 0-3, however, play the Dolphins this week. Maybe they can steal one there. We'll see. Dolphins got a very good defense. If the Dolphins have one thing going for them, it's a defense. However, they don't have a killer mentality. So we'll see. Falcons, Giants, the snoozer of the day because nobody cares unless you're a Falcons or Giants fan. Nobody really cared, especially Giants now. You lost to Atlanta at home. You probably don't feel very good about your team and where the situation's going. That one, there's going to start to be coach and general manager. A lot of heat on those guys coming up. Bengals, surprise of the weekend. Now, the Steelers haven't looked great, but definitely surprise of the weekend from these guys. Absolutely incredible. And, they put it down on the Steelers. So don't get me wrong. The Steelers looked good. The first week against Buffalo, as far as their defense, offense has been a little sloppy, but they have not looked good the last few weeks. Bears, Browns, this one was tough to take if you're a Bears fan. They were so excited that the overhype. This is what you do when you overhype somebody. Again, we're going to talk about it tomorrow. The young guys, the guys who you expect so much from. And Fields looked good in the preseason. And I try to always caution that. I've been saying it since the preseason. Fields wasn't playing guys who were going to play in the NFL. Fields was playing guys he saw in college. He was seeing those guys in the NFL at that time. He did well in college. He's going to eventually see some NFL guys, and that's that. So, and excuse me on the video here. I know we're doing the podcast. It's getting cloudy out. I didn't have a light on in the room, and because the light was good at that time, but now I'm looking a little dark on the angles here, so I apologize. However, the Browns defense just killed that guy. It's going to be that all year when they play these tough defenses. Don't get me wrong. Can they get it done? Possibly. I said at the beginning of the season, if you're going to be an average to bad team, is it better to play the kid? I thought it was. Watching this game with that offensive line, I no longer think that way. I think everybody wants, let's try Foles. I don't think they should try Foles. Foles does not do good under pressure. It's been proven. The best quarterback they have under pressure, who spent a lot of his years getting hit and sacked, is Andy Dalton. He has the experience of getting knocked around and making the passes and making the plays. Yeah, no, the Bengals weren't some spectacular team under him, but they did go to the playoffs several times under his leadership. And, they had some good seasons in that division. So you could see him coming around in that better. I know he didn't have a great season last year. Again, they rushed him back from injury. The Cowboys did, to try to get some things done, and he didn't look good. He didn't look good before the injury. However, I think the Bears got to roll with Dalton. I really do. If he's able to go, he's the guy because he can play under pressure and he can get things done. So that's where that's going to be. Now, going into the Patriots-Saints game, again, here we go again. Young quarterback. We're going to have this discussion tomorrow. Mac Jones. A lot of Patriots fans blaming offensive line and things. Well, a lot of that young quarterback play comes from offensive line checks and calls that a quarterback moves them into. So we're going to get into that discussion tomorrow. However, the Patriots didn't look spectacular. The Saints kind of put it to them. And now they got to play Tom Brady coming home. So we'll see where that goes. Cardinals really gave the Jaguars a chance to win this game. The Jaguars made some mistakes. Urban Meyer, the coaching drives me crazy. It is what it is. Hold on real quick because I can't take this anymore. now that it's getting dark in here. So we're going to get a little light. Got a little light going. I got a little glare, but that's okay. So, Urban Meyer, this is why coaches come from college and they don't last. The flea flicker was so stupid. It was stupid. It was stupid, a stupid time for it. It was just not conducive to that. It changed the game. If you've seen it, Urban Meyer calls a flea flicker. Lawrence has to get rid of it as soon as he catches it from the back because he's about to get crushed by a DN. And he just throws it up wildly. He was somewhat open, but he lofts a ball. Even if he bulleted it, he just needed to throw that thing out of bounds. Play didn't work. But you don't put a rookie quarterback in that position. And Urban Meyer, this shows why a lot of college coaches, 95% of these guys that go to the league, don't last as head coaches. You can't call this type of stuff in the NFL. It was easy when you were at Ohio State and you had all the talent in the world and you were, 10 times as talented as the guys across from you. You guys could make coaching call mistakes. You can't do that. And then if you make a coaching call mistake, the other team's going the other way. And if that's on coaching, and that was on him, and we saw a little bit of that. Bills come out, smash the Redskins. Redskins didn't look good in this game. Saw a lot of portions of this game. They didn't look good at all. They started out somewhat okay, but it got worse as the game went on. They just did not look good defensively. That defensive line is supposed to have been special this year. They don't look special. They really don't. Now, they have the talent, but they're not doing it right now. They haven't looked special in any week. It's just not there. So, and then Broncos-Jets. Broncos haven't proved anything yet. This is a game you should win 26-0 if you're an average or better team. So right now all we know about the Broncos is they're average, maybe better. We're going to find out as their schedule moves on. They've played the Giants, the Jets, and the Jaguars. So they're 0-9 combined in the teams they've played, or the teams that they've played are 0-9 on the season. So don't look at that as, we'll find out where the Broncos are in the upcoming weeks. As a team. But they're doing, they got an extra preseason in, right? They got 3 extra preseason games, so they may look good. Dolphins, Raiders, what an incredible game. Dolphins, though, they have no killer instinct. This team is just not doing it right now. They don't look good as far as killer instinct. They're up 14-0 in this game. They're up 14-12 coming out of halftime. They didn't score the rest of the half. They only scored in the first quarter, and then they just didn't look good. Coming out of halftime, they get the ball. They were killing the Raiders on the run in the first half. They don't do any of that basically to start the third quarter. I think even in the whole entire third quarter, I don't know what it was, 3 rushes or something like that. Just ridiculous. This dual offensive coordinator is not working. It's not working. Now, the Dolphins made a comeback and had things going at the end of the game, but it was way too late. The Raiders really didn't play a game that they should have won. The Dolphins, again, this is what the Dolphins did prior, and this is what they've done in seasons past, is they start out, they can play 1 or 2 quarters, but they have no killer instinct and they can't get it done, so therefore Raiders hold on in what I'm calling double overtime and win with the field goal. Vikings, Seahawks, Russell Wilson, this offense did not look good. He was hooking up with DK, but they kind of let that go. They said, you're not beating us deep over the top with Lockett, and you're not going to scramble around and do the Russell Wilson special of scramble around and loft it into the end zone. The Vikings stopped that. The Seahawks did have a big run, but as far as the running game going, man, they've been struggling to get it done. They did have one good run in this game, which Chris Carson took to the house. But, yeah, a lot of unbalance in that offense, too, that's going on. Just doesn't look good in the run game. Again, it's been like that for like 3 or 4 years. It's just stuck on Russell Wilson's shoulders, and if he doesn't get it done and it doesn't hit some bombs to Lockett or these other guys, DK, then they're in trouble. So that's our week wrap-up of what happened this weekend. For our Tuesday show. That's going to do it. I appreciate you guys being with us and being a part of this. And don't forget to subscribe, follow at Gridiron Grubb on Twitter, subscribe here on YouTube. Get these things done. So Spotify, that's the place to be. Apple Podcast, if you like it, 5-star it. It'll be greatly appreciated. And with that, I will say much adieu to you guys, and we will see you next time. Peace out, brothers.